All right, here we are. Cowboys game plan. Just a few days after Sunday's loss to Carolina in Carolina. Uh, it was a tough one. I took several days this week to even go back and really look at any information and look at the game. Before we get too far into it, Slater, why don't you go ahead and give me your thoughts on what happened in Carolina and where you feel the team is at right now?
The defense sucks. It's awful. It's pitiful. It's like a roller coaster of waves going on. You feel like they're getting somewhere, and then they're not, and then you feel like they're getting somewhere, and then they're not. This Carolina game came down to the defense. If you're a fan who expects Dak Prescott to score every time they touch the ball, even though they scored pretty much like every time but once, I guess stop watching. This defense is atrocious, and until they decide to get fixed or until they trade for somebody, I really don't know what the fix is for it. So that's where I'm at.
So I've thought about a couple of things. You know, one, yeah, I did see where some people were like, well, the offense, choked or they didn't perform when they needed to perform. It's like, man, come on.
Yeah.
I mean, uh, yeah, they had a drive where Dak blinked, through a couple screens and it didn't work out. But I mean, at some point the defense has got to step up. But here's my overall feeling on this. Just from an optics point of view here, you look at each game that's happened this season, right? You look at how well they played, even though they lost to the Eagles, they played well. How well they played with the Giants, how well they played against the Packers. And you look at the two losses that have made the biggest impact. One being the one to Chicago, an away game, and one being to Carolina, an away game. And you're like, why did they lose those games? Where did that intensity and battle tested, gritty determination? Why didn't it travel? Right? Why didn't it happen? And the games that they showed up for, winning or losing, tying or whatever, were at home. They were primetime games. They were talked up all week. And it's like sometimes I almost feel like the star is more powerful than the team,
Yeah.
and it's like they just don't show up when they're supposed to show up, like if nobody's watching. You know what I mean? I
Mm-hmm.
don't know if that makes sense, but it's as soon as they showed the field in Carolina, I think it's like Bank of America Stadium or whatever. As soon as they showed, it looked ominous. It was dark. It was gray. A little bit of a overcast, and I'm like, man, this just doesn't feel good. It doesn't feel good. And that first drive, Carolina, he's just ramming the ball right down the field, and I'm like, oh, this is not going to be a good game. We've got players laughing at themselves, getting blocked by wide receivers, damn near into the end zone.
Mm-hmm.
We've got blown coverages everywhere. We've got bonehead ideas to stay 7 yards off the ball on fourth downs. No pass rush again. The offense, despite being slowed down, was still very productive. George Pickens had a fantastic day.
Mm-hmm.
I can't understand it. I do not get it.
Yeah, and we said this in our preview video for Carolina. I didn't think we missed Jack Sanborn as bad because of how slow he is to react to things, but at least he's
Right.
reacting the right way. Kenneth Murray, in the film review, looked awful. I mean, he just no instincts, right? And even on that
Right.
fourth down play, I saw the concept that Eberflus was trying to do. He would the land is back over the top, and Murray is supposed to undercut that route. Cool, but the problem is Murray has no instincts, and as soon as Bryce Young drops back, he doesn't turn and go. He waits, and that's what cost the game of inches, right? And it's just one of these things where until we figure out a way to solidify the box, we're in trouble. And even on the coverages standpoints, Donovan Wilson, I don't know why we keep trying to do this experiment with him, trying to be an over the top safety. At this point, when we're getting healthy at corner with Ravel and Kalen Carson and all these guys coming back, Would it hurt to put Dono in the box and Trayvon at free safety? And I mean, Trayvon's a ball hawking guy. I mean, why not? Things have got to change, and things have to find a way to get better.
Yeah, on that play that you were talking about, I think
Mm-hmm.
that's the Hunter Winfro throw.
Yep.
Yeah, that is a 4 yard throw between a professional quarterback and a professional wide receiver that
Mm-hmm.
a high school quarterback in 3A ball can make all day long.
Yep.
And you decide to make it complex with a defense who's had to have everything simplified, as we've heard all year. We maybe need, simplify it and simplify it. And we'll
One word. One
simplify it for
word.
one word. How about just do your job, the basic job, which is cover that guy in front of you as tight as possible so that he doesn't have a window at all. Don't open a window and then expect someone to be able to dive in front of the window in the nick of time like you're shooting an action hero scene, you know? So it's just like, guys, just do the thing. Do the thing you're supposed to do.
Yeah.
Find guy, cover guy, run with guy. Let's do that. Let's not
Yeah.
try to set traps and then
I
be disappointed when the prey doesn't jump in it.
Yeah, I would have totally understood maybe just a little bit more if it was like Kyler Elam, but you just paid Bland. Like, why are you not trusting him to get up on the guy on a fourth down that if you stop him, we probably win off a field goal? Like, literally, that's literally the play of the game. The defense sucked all day, and all they had to do is make that stop and let Dallas and the offense finally get some runs going and kick a field goal with Brandon Aubrey and walk away from it, and we could be singing happy songs. But instead, you tried to, like you said, make a trap, and it just didn't work out.
Right. And that's just not the way you do it. If you can't, we couldn't do the basics.
Mm-hmm.
We couldn't stop the run. We couldn't stop Tet from getting 2 touchdowns in one game of the entire season. It's his first ones all
Yeah,
season
no
long since he's
touchdowns
been here.
all year. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, but that's what we do. And if you don't believe that, just look at the Chicago Bears, who have now won what, like 3 straight when they started
Mm-hmm.
the win against us. They're hot. They got right. That was their get right game, was versus us, and that's how everybody is going to play Dallas. Everybody is going to play Dallas with everything they've got because they can, and that's what you should do. When the show comes to town, when the circus is in town, you go to the circus and you have a good time. And that's what
Mm-hmm.
we are right now. We're the Dallas Cowboys, America's circus. And it's really unfortunate because I love this team. You know, I've been a fan my entire life. And it's frustrating to get into these moments. And then you got to listen to well, we had a season where we were 3-5. We came back and made the playoffs. Yeah, that's great. That's great, but it shouldn't have to be that way. You guys should be a 2-loss team at maximum right now, but you're not. You're having to deal with this and all the tomfoolery of your own players making fun of themselves, not doing their job. So I think everybody gets treated like a star for being a Dallas Cowboys, but they don't always play to the level of that star, and it's starting to show. And I think as fans, we're growing more and more frustrated.
Yeah,
So at
and
this point, I'm at the point where Dallas has got to show me something.
yeah, and I'll make my last comment on this. It's this is all focused on one side of the ball. The offense is phenomenal. The offense is
Yeah.
playing with injuries. The offense is playing like, well, Dak is doing everything he can, and we're gonna waste this season and this opportunity with him to do something
Man, you're not
special.
kidding.
The reason that Jerry's like, we trade Micah because we believe in Dak, but the problem is now is that you're wasting that talent and that ability of him being so locked in, and you hope that you can ravage the defense enough to be like the 20th best defense just to make a stop or two, to hope that your offense is going to be a shootout offense and we're going to win every game because we're going to score 40 while opposing teams score 35 or 38.
Yeah, man. I have no complaints about the offense. I mean, what more can you ask them to do with multiple starting linemen, multiple wide receivers, running backs out? I mean, everything that can go wrong for them has gone wrong, and they've still been competitive and productive in every single football game. You're always going to run into a team that has a scheme that makes it tougher for you and slows you down a little bit, but they still put 27 points on the board that day, which
Mm-hmm.
is enough to win. Unless your defense, is running around with a shotgun blowing holes in the bottom of your ship. you're gonna sink. You know?
Facts.
Yeah.
Facts.
So that's where we're at, and it's like, okay. So with that being said, moving on. Not happy. What silver lining is we're going into the Washington game at home
Yep.
Sunday. I think it's afternoon, early afternoon game, 4:25, 3:25, something like that.
Yep.
Big game, way bigger than it needed to be. The entire team appears to be 100% healthy, and I have a feeling that because it's a big game and it's at home and it's a divisional rival, that Dallas is going to show up.
Mm-hmm.
But even at their best, offensively and defensively, will it be enough?
Yeah, right now, and this is just kind of some facts I'll speak here, is the line opened at -2.5. Right now, it's currently at -1.5 towards the Commanders. When you look at the ESPN, percentage chart, it's basically a 50-50 game. They don't know which way to swing it. And the reason why is because one, Dallas is at home, but two, that offense is so good that they don't know if somehow if the defense miraculously gets a stop or two. But the Commanders are also facing a lot of injuries, and this is an opportunity again to capitalize on. Right? We said this last
Right.
week. Carolina, you gotta go in there and you gotta win. Well, this one is really like you gotta win because if you go 1-2 in your division, it's not looking good. You already took a loss to the Eagles. You need the tiebreaker against the Commanders on a slim hope that we need a wild card spot. You need this win. This win right here will put you back to 500 or a little over 500 considering the ties there, but it will also give you the opportunity to jump second and have the Commanders, the tiebreaker on the Commanders. So we have got to step up to the plate. The defense needs to find a way to finally just hone in at least 2 stops or one. I'll take one at this point. Give me
Sure.
one stop, or a turnover or something
Yeah.
that kind of propels us to get a lead. I hate that we have to play behind. I hate that we have to always scrap and it's like, oh, they score, and now we're praying that Dak Prescott can carry us downfield and we score, and then it's like, come
Right.
on, defense, just one time, and then it's like, no, they score, and you're sitting there. So I'll let you have the floor, but I hate to say this again, but it's a must win.
Yeah. I mean, we have to pray for a mistake,
Mm-hmm.
and hope that the plays that are called for Washington are at least short yardage plays so that we have a chance for a tipped pass or, a mistake to happen and get an interception or, like what happened to them in Chicago. They fumble a snap or something. Because, I mean, our defense hasn't proven that they're going to take the ball away from them. So we have to hope that Washington at least gives us the ball once. Or it's going to be what it's been at home every game this year.
Yeah,
It's going to come down to a shootout, which
and
Jayden Daniels is quite capable of doing. Despite not having receivers, we tend to make receivers all pros.
I'm scared of Jane Daniels' legs this week in
hundred
particular.
percent. Yeah, because we don't have
It,
anybody who can run him down.
Yeah, QB runs have killed us this year. You saw it with Jalen Hurts. That's the reason why they won that game. Then you saw it with Caleb Williams that kept backbreaking us, and then now you're going to see it with Jane Daniels. And I'm sure there's going to be ways to really find those holes in our defense. And on top of that, that running back too, they're going to try the run on us again. And if they get 7 yards on the first carry of the game, it's going to
We're in
be like,
trouble.
oh, yeah, now Washington's going to be like, yeah, we got you this game. Because then read options are going to come into play, QB scrambles are going to come into play, and you're going to lose this game because we cannot do the fundamentals. We can't hold our gaps. Our linebackers cannot have instincts to
Roll over
jump.
the
Yeah,
top. Yeah.
exactly. And our defensive ends get blocked out by tight ends, while allowing left guards and left tackles and right guards to pull and hit your corners. And what? It's ridiculous. It's
Yeah.
it's bad.
So this is whatever medication prescription, whatever they did versus New York is what they've got to do in this game. The
Yeah,
defensive ends have to have a solid heads up awareness kind of game this week, because this is going to be about them setting the edge, determining what the play is, how it's developing, and getting in a position to slow the activity of the play down, the development, right? I don't need Azaraku, trying to shut the whole play down by himself, but he needs to put his body in position to where the cavalry has time to get there.
Yep.
Especially on contains with Jayden Daniels because he's going to. Our defensive backs, our cornerbacks, are good enough to, I hope, are good enough to slow down the wide receivers that Washington does have on the field. So Jayden's going to have to find ways to escape, and he's probably going to use his legs or he's going to look for his checkdowns, right? So it's like we just need to be hovering in the area to minimize the damage because they're going to get them. And like I said earlier, this is a defensive end game, and Eberflus he's going to have to find a way to generate pass rush with his play calls, not with hoping that a certain combination of our defensive linemen is going to just manifest pressure. Send someone that's not on the line already after the guy with the ball. It's really
Yeah.
simple. It's 1-2-3 stuff.
Yeah, this week I'm hoping that Sanborn comes back and becomes the green dot, right? And what Sanborn can bring to the table, and this is what I'm hoping for, is Sanborn is going to be your linebacker who doesn't blitz. He's going to be the one that kind of covers the middle of the field. He may man up. He may be playing the QB contain. Who knows? Kenneth Murray, Leafau, Clark, just send them. What you got to
Right.
lose? Like, send them on blitzes. Reddy Stewart, why not? Let's just send him. You could make it a disguise where you drop Dono into the box with Sanborn, and you blitz Stewart from there, and Dono bails out. We got to get creative here. If we're not going to play man, and we're not going to just trust our corners to do our job, which they're man corners. Dan Quinn did it with them for years. Okay, outside of that one Green Bay playoff game, we played really well at corner with Trayvon and Deron Bland. If you're not going to do that, then this game needs to come down to generating that pressure like you talked about. Not just throwing Sam Williams out there and Marshawn Nealon out there and being like, all right, guys, let's see if we can get it now. We're 7 weeks in. Let's see if you can finally just all of a sudden have a Micah Parsons game. It's not going to happen. These guys, they may need more playing time, but right now, if you're trying to keep your season alive, this isn't preseason. This isn't practice. This isn't, a scrimmage where it's like, hey, guys, we're going to practice and make sure that we're getting better. This is like the season on the line. So it's time to buckle up, get your best guys in. James Houston, I don't care if he's a bad run stopper. I need pass rush. That's what you got Kenny Clark and Osa for. And you got to use them and your linebackers to stop the run and use your ends to always be in there for pass rush or better instincts.
Yeah, man, the definition of insanity is continuing to do the same thing and expecting a different result,
Yep.
right? 100%. It's time to cut the bullshit. You got to do something. If you're running zone coverage 95% of the time and you're getting your ass beat 95% of the time, you have to make a change. Period. It's
Yep.
not suddenly just going to correct itself, So that's kind of where I'm at.
It,
If the end result is that you're going to get beat on pass plays with wide receivers that are subpar, then you have to do something outside of that to try to cause disruption. So if it's happening that way every time, the only way to make it any different is to do something different that you haven't been doing. And it might be too late. It may be too late because if Eberflus tries to do it, they're probably going to be like, if I were him, I would try to do this time. And they're ready for it because he has no options left. It's
yeah.
either do what you've been doing and hope and pray, or do something different, which is the logical thing to do, and everybody knows you're going to do it, and then hope that, again, you generate some kind of disruption. So we're in a bad spot here. This is a must-win game for this season. I don't care what anybody tells you.
It,
Like you said earlier, with the divisional record, it's a terrible time to lose.
Is this, I know we've been challenging Schottenheimer all year, but is this really a game where this is where you're going to figure out who your head coach is of the Dallas Cowboys for the next couple of years? Is this how you like, do you feel that if, like, he lets Eberflus do the same things again, or like
That would
allow.
be a problem for me.
Yeah, that's where I'm kind of getting at. Not saying like Schottenheimer needs to bring out the offense. I'm talking he's sitting on the sideline and is letting Eberflus do the same things again. Like we're just gonna send four. Dono's gonna play deep safety, and we're just gonna try to come up with some creative things that aren't really working like we've done the past 6 weeks. Like, do you feel that Schottenheimer at some point during this past week had to have been like, look, Eberflus, something's got to give here. I know you're a great zone scheme caller, but this team is not built for it. Maybe in the next offseason, maybe in the offseason after, we can retool. But now we have to do what's best for our players and our team and play with our abilities.
Yeah, as far as Schottenheimer, I think he's had a successful season. I
Yeah,
think he's been put on spot every game offensively. Who knows how creative of a mind he had going into this season, and he's probably had to test it every single week just to overcome the absolute shit show of a defense that Eberflus is bringing to the table. Sorry,
facts.
I'm just getting a little bit,
No.
uncordial here because of my frustration
Yeah.
level at this point. It's time to not be nice, right?
Yeah.
So it's like, sure, Eberflus, he's a great guy. I want him in the foxhole with me. I don't give a shit. This is football, okay? We're not going to the Buffalo Wild Wings to have drinks. We're playing football. Somebody's got to get their ass out there and make a hit and make a play and do something to change the trajectory of the game because that's what you're getting paid an exorbitant amount of money for to do. And you get to wear a star, which is a privilege.
Yep.
So don't laugh about it because ain't a damn thing funny. That's why nobody's laughing, right? So yeah, if they have it, somebody needs to have had a conversation with Eberflus and tell him that the end result and the way we achieve it has to look different. There has to be a different outcome. Do I think Schottenheimer has that power? I doubt it. I don't think he can make that call. He can have the conversation, but I don't think he can make the call. That would threaten Eberflus's position with the team. Unfortunately,
Do you think on top of everything else, like, is this the kind of game that, and this is what worries me as a fan, because I don't think it should be this way, but with Jerry Jones and Stephen Jones, I feel that if we lose this game, there is no hope for like a trade deadline kind of move. There may be, it may be a slim hope, but I feel that winning this game would promote the front office to find a guy or use those assets that Jerry talks about, right? To go and get somebody that could help you throughout the season, whether it's a defensive end like Trey Hendrickson or a linebacker or some. I feel this game may have a bigger impact with the front office than we realize, and I'm scared that if we lose, they're going to be like we're stuck. And maybe we go on to the draft the next year, and if we win, they'll be like, well, this team's got the potential. Our defense still looks awful. We have got to find them help. How do you
yeah,
feel about that?
yeah, I agree, but I think historically Jerry doesn't give up very easy. I think it's
Yeah.
I think it's a week 12 kind of situation, assuming that we have some wins. If we're above 500 and there's still enough games for us to have a shot at a wild card or even win the division, I think he's a player. Now, that doesn't really help because the way he plays as a GM, he's already one hand tied behind his back because he wants a guaranteed victory towards himself, right? And what I mean by that is he's going to sit in his office knowing all the information that's out there with plenty of money and plenty of tools, trade capital, and he's going to wait for the phone to ring for someone to call him because he wins. If they call you, you automatically win. They ask first, you win.
Mm-hmm.
It's a great idea, but this is football. This isn't a used car deal. We're not selling houses. We're not selling, Thin Mints in front of the Walgreens, right?
Yeah.
You need to acquire talent in order to win games. And you have to be willing to walk across the room and put your balls on the table to get things done sometimes.
Yeah.
And the question is when and at what point is he going to be willing to do that? When is he going to be a GM the right way, if ever?
Yeah. I mean, we've only got a couple more weeks till the trade deadline, so if something's going to happen, something's got to give. Now, like you said, I totally agree with everything you said. I don't know, man. I wish this front office was a little bit more aggressive, and I wish, and I'm not talking like trade everybody away for Micah
No, I want to
Parsons,
keep everything we've
and
got.
yeah, I'm just saying you got to bring something to the table. You have got to find,
So let me ask you this.
yeah,
It inspired a great question. What do you
yeah.
trade for? What are you looking for? What's the biggest glaring issue with the defense if you think about it? I know we've had these conversations offline a couple times. You know where I stand. So it's like, what do we need? Do we need a fifth guy? That's still that has a good name to come over here and be added to the already highly touted defensive line of players that we have that aren't accomplishing very much. We've got guys, we've got good talented players on our defensive line. Where do we add help?
I think I said safeties for the longest time, but at this point, I don't know if there's any really safeties on the market. I feel with maybe Malik Hooker coming back and all that, I'm holding out hope for that. For me, it's got to be linebacker. I mean, I know Overshown's
No
coming
question.
back. I mean, I, I've shifted on this. First, I was like safeties and all that, but Overshown's coming back. But if it's like anyone else in NFL history who comes off an injury, they don't just come back and start wrecking heads and all that. Now he may, there's always a chance for a special case, but it takes a couple weeks to ramp up, and he's still not coming back until after the bye week, at best right now. And so it's one of these things where it's like, can you survive another 4 games without a good linebacker or at least someone to complement Overshown for when he does come back? And I'm not talking like you got to go get Fred Warner, which I know he's out for the season, but it's just an example of the talent level. There's guys like,
Roquan Smith with the state of the Ravens. If I were Jerry, I would be on the phone right now
I,
trying to
I
get
just
Roquan Smith.
I need a B star player that when it comes to this, like even if
We
it's
need a
37.
headhunter.
Yeah, it's even if it's 37-year-old Demario Davis from New Orleans. I need a linebacker who has instinct, who is ready to fill holes, and who is not afraid to get dirty. And what we're lacking right now is with Kenneth Murray instincts, and with Jack Sanborn, he's just a step too slow. Just Eric Kendricks part 2 from last year. So I point to linebackers, and I think you are on that same page with me.
Yeah, absolutely. We need a linebacker that's going to come in and intimidate the offensive line. He's going to
Yep.
intimidate the quarterback. He's going to get in the face of another defensive player when they screw up. He's going to drive the passion of the defense because this defense plays poorly with the spirit of the game. I haven't seen any fire. It's like, man, I'll go out there and get myself hurt, but I'll raise hell before and after it happens, at
Yeah.
least, and that's what I want to see. I don't see any of that. They're just getting their asses whooped, and it's just like, all right, we'll jog off. And nobody's upset, and it's like we've got two good cornerbacks. We have tons of names on the defensive lines. Our safeties are whatever. I don't even know how to define them. So it's like where we're the softest is at the middle of the field. And
Yeah.
that's where we're losing games is in the middle of the field between the tackles. Dowdle, Winfro, same thing with Chicago, right in the middle of the field because our linebackers are either out of their assignment role and not in the right position, or they're being outsmarted with the creativity of the opposing offensive coaches. And that's what's happening. By the time they understand what's going on, they're already too late to stop the progress. So yes, we need a linebacker who is an animal. We
Yep.
need an Overshown now, and we need one to help Overshown. And I
Hmm.
guarantee you, if that were to happen, the Louisville's and the Shamar Jameses of the team, it would light in a new fire that would make them play even better than they're already playing. And that's the biggest problem. We have no defensive heart because we either cut it or traded it all away and didn't replace it with the right kind of player. Kenny Clark is an
Yeah.
excellent tackle, a great addition to the team, but he's not a talker. He's a leader and a veteran who shows up does his job, does it well, and sticks to the game plan. But he's not going to grab you by the face mask when you're not in the gap you're supposed to be as a linebacker and you let somebody run for 8 yards play after play. He's not going to do that. We need somebody who's going to do that.
Yeah, it's like the offense side of the field, right? Who's your field general? Your quarterback. Your quarterback's the leader of the offense. He's the leader of the team. You need the same thing on the defensive side. And that's what the Cowboys are missing. They're missing, and some teams it's different. Some teams I've seen a safety be like, for the Ravens, it's like Kyle Hamilton. Even though they do have Roquan Smith, Kyle Hamilton's a huge leader on that team. He's the one who makes all the adjustments and does all that. But for the Cowboys, they need someone, whether it's a safety or a linebacker, who can control the game and be a field general. Someone who's like, I'm gonna bring out Hall of Famers here, but like Luke Kuechly's of the world, Sean Lee, a former Cowboy.
Yeah.
Even, again, I'm gonna go back to Fred Warner. When you see Fred Warner on the field, he is commanding the field. He's gonna call everything out. He's gonna make the adjustments, and he's gonna have the heart and soul of that defense. And if you go through him, you're gonna have a tough time. And that's what the middle of the field needs. And I think that's where you're talking about that culture,
Yeah.
that heart,
100%. Yeah.
that's
Who's
what
with you? The Troy Polamalu, the Champ Bailey, the Rod Woodson. It doesn't matter what position it is. There's been one in every position group on a defense over the history of the sport.
Yep.
It doesn't matter what position they play. I've seen cornerbacks smack dudes around. You know,
Yeah.
there was one who played for Seattle for a significant amount of time who he was a personality. And the
Yeah.
defense, he was a defensive leader, and he was the heart of that defense.
And
So
see,
it's like, where's that guy?
yeah, and see, here's the funny thing about it is like everyone kind of gave, it's like Bobby Wagner. He leaves Seattle, he goes to the Rams, and then it's like Dallas, you have the opportunity to get him, but instead you let him go to the Commanders, which it makes sense. Dan Quinn and him are close, but those are the kind of guys that like in the offseason, even though yes, they're maybe 35, 36, those are guys that still have a lot of heart. Those are guys who have so much experience that they can teach younger guys. Those are guys who have the ability to take control of a game, and you shouldn't look at age if you're trying to win now. If your philosophy is like, we're going all in, we're going to win now, we want to be right on the front lines, then you have to make those kind of signings. And it seems like this Cowboys sometimes like shy away from big time signings with older players. And I
Well, we
think,
had one last year in Kendricks. He would have
yeah,
been great in the middle right now with Lua Fowl and Shamar James as the younger guys learning from him and letting him be the field general and the green dot and show them
hmm
what's happening. It would have been excellent. But like you just said, they let that guy go and they replace him with, Jack Sanborn and Kenneth Murray, who are younger than him but playing like they're older. And it's like, come
yeah.
on, man.
I,
Just a
I
bad
think
decision.
I think the change in defensive coordinator had a big influence on that because Eric Kendricks was a Mike Zimmer guy, and of course, when they hired Eberflus, they're like, "Hey, who do
I don't
you?"
even know what that means. You know what I mean? It hasn't
Yeah,
made a damn licks of difference for
yeah,
Eberflus to have his guys here. A player's a
yeah,
player, and the quality of the player is the quality of the player because the
yeah.
job's the same every day.
No, I
Whether you're running
100%
left or right
agree.
doesn't matter. You know what I'm saying? You
hmm
either have the talent and the instinct or you don't. So it's like
Yeah.
just get the guys on the field who know how to play the damn game, and you'll get results.
Yep. And I totally agree. And that's what I was going to get to is like, we shouldn't look at trying to get your coach's guys unless your coach
Right.
has proven that his scheme is like phenomenal. And let's say like, that's what I'm trying to get to is we are always like, oh, let's go get that coach's guys. He wants him. People are standing up for him. And like, we got to go get Jack Sanborn because that's
Yeah, it's
Matt Eberflus's
sponsorship. I get
guy.
that. Yeah, but you're
Yeah.
waiting around so long for these guys to develop because they're your guys or his guys or our guys that by the time they do, it does click and they're doing the job right. You're 4 or 5 losses in the hole, and now everything has to go right in the
Perfect. Yeah.
NFL for you to have a chance. And it happens time and time again. We either got peanut butter, but we ain't got no jelly. We got cinnamon toast crunch, but we ain't got no milk. And that's where we're at. So this game has a lot of weight to it.
Yep.
I'll be there. I'll be watching it. I'm excited for it. It's my team. I want them to win. But man, who knows how this could go? And
Yeah.
and this could be one of those games, man, where we just blow them out of the water. You know, it really could. It's happened in the past, or it could be a dog fight. So I
Yeah.
guess we're going to see. What are your
Yeah.
final thoughts?
My final thought is that Cowboys, we got lucky as fans, Cowboys players, Cowboys ownership. We all got lucky that the Giants beat the Eagles and the Commanders lost to the Bears on a heartbreaking field goal loss. Dallas, the window has still it's staying open for you to seize the opportunity. It's closing. It's very tiny, but you still have an opportunity because if the Commanders would have won last week, it's closed, right? It's a tough hole to climb out of, but you have an opportunity to get second in the East. Maybe the Eagles drop one again, and you can get one behind them again and have the opportunity to go and chase it. But until the defense decides to step up and it really help out this offense, there's no point in trying to give hope. I'm not going to be a hope guy for the defense. For the
Yeah, I'm
offense,
not rah rah right now. You got to show
yeah.
me.
For the offense, I will be out there cheering for him because George Pickens, CeeDee Lamb, Kevontae Turpin, Javonte
No
Williams,
excuses.
yeah, good luck stopping them. That is a tough offense to stop, but the defense, I mean, we pretty much are playing with high school ball right there.
Yeah, man, it's a strainer, you know.
Yeah.
So yeah, do your damn job.
Do
Do
your
your damn,
job. Do your
do
job.
your job, man. All
I'm
right.
tired. Yeah, sorry.
No, it's
We
all
go on
right.
a rant all night.
Yeah, we can keep going, but yeah, we'll put a positive note
Hey,
on it. We
on
can
the
win. We're
pod,
gonna win. I have faith
yeah.
in the team
Hey,
showing up and playing well.
on non-Cowboys news related, I got some awesome news. We are 2 subscribers away from
Oh,
hitting
there we go.
100. So
Yeah,
just wanted to
hit the
shout
button.
everyone out. Yeah, hit the subscribe button, hit the like button. We're super hyped. We're super excited that y'all are kind of joining our journey. And man, I just can't wait to see where the road takes us. I can't wait to after this season, however it goes, go to off season with y'all and be able to scout players and do film studies on them and actually do deep breakdowns. And on top of everything else, man, I just appreciate the opportunity and I hope y'all keep listening.
All right, we will see y'all after the game. Take care.
Let's go, Cowboys!